All right, everyone, what is up? It is time for my yearly video on what to look for when you're buying a TV. Now, before I begin, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. You guys rock. Thank you guys so much for impacting the channel directly. And if you like this video and you want to support the channel directly, make sure you click the link down in the description and become a patron today. Now, I know buying a TV is a daunting task. There's so many model numbers, so many features, so many different prices, so many different sizes. And what I'm going to try and do here is kind of level the playing field for you guys and let you know what you need to think about when you are going to make that purchase decision and hopefully get the right TV for you. If you're new to the channel and you want to learn about TVs, 4K Blu-ray players, Dolby Atmos, home theater systems, and all that kind of cool stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notified when the new videos are released. I got already over 600 videos and more on the way. Okay, so I've finished shooting the video, but I had to pop in real quick right here just to let you guys know, no matter how much money you spend, there will be something wrong with the TV. Wrong in the sense that, like, it's not perfect. How much ever you spend, you're still not going to get the perfect TV. I feel like there is no such thing. So just keep that in mind as well when you're shopping around for pricing and features and comparing all these things. Okay. All right. So first things first, budget. What is your budget? And can you go a little bit higher from that? Now, we're seeing Black Friday pricing on TVs currently. So like any TVs I mentioned, any links down in the description, they're already going to be at Black Friday pricing. Sure. If you walk into a store, can you like finagle them down another $50 to $100? Maybe. I've heard that happens, from time to time, but I wouldn't like count on that. So if you just want to make sure you get a great price, I mean, I think there's some 77-inch OLEDs that are going for under $3,000 now. So that is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, gotta say. Anyway, if you have, let's say, $1,000 budget, make sure you have like a little wiggle room. Maybe, get an extra $100 or $200 if you can, and see what you can get, because sometimes you'll get a higher end TV at that lower price. Now, one of the things you're thinking about with budget is size. There is a direct relationship to the cost of the TV and the size of the TV. For instance, if we were to take $1,000 and look at the TVs in that price range, you would find a 55-inch Sony X90J for $1,000. You could also find a 65-inch Hisense UAG for $1,000. You could even get a 75-inch Sony X80J or a TCL 5 series, also 75-inch, also for $1,000. So if you're thinking about upgrading your TV, think about, is it a size thing? Is it a picture quality thing? Because obviously the more expensive TVs are going to be more expensive in each size. Even though the 55-inch X90J is $1,000, it's going to give you a better picture than the 75-inch TCL 5 series. And that's just the way it is. So if you're upgrading, are you upgrading to get a larger size and not care so much about picture quality? Or you want to stay in the same size and you want a picture quality upgrade? Those are things you need to think about. Here's another example. If you are looking at 85-inch TVs, you can check out the Samsung Q70A for $2,000. However, you can get a 65-inch LG C1 OLED or a 65-inch Sony A80J OLED for around $1,800. Now, of course, both of those OLEDs are going to look better than the Samsung Q70A. However, you're not getting that large format. So again, this is a personal preference. Are you going to skimp on picture quality to get a bigger size, or would you, forego the size for better picture quality? Now, if you're going for a purely a size upgrade, make sure you have enough room in your home for the size upgrade. I had a 65-inch LG OLED in the living room and I wanted to go 77. And then I went onto LG's website to compare the dimensions of the 77 with the 83. Because I'm like, okay, look, I might have FOMO if I get the 77 and been like, man, what was that 83 like? Oh, man. So I basically took the measurements and was like, okay, if I were to go with the 83, I'd have to push my speakers out by 2.5 inches. And I need it would be an extra like 4 inches on the top of the TV. Now, luckily for us, our TV stand actually sits pretty low. So even when the 83 inches there, our eyes are pointed right at the center of the screen, like vertically. So if you are going for a larger size upgrade, make sure you have enough room for it and you can mount it or use the, TV stand that you already have. Just make sure that the hopefully the TV has a pedestal stand, which is also why I like the LG OLEDs, because of the pedestal stand as apart from the 2 feet, because that could make or break the TV purchase for you. Next, we have features. What features does a TV need for you to be happy? For me, I could have gone with the Sony OLED as opposed to the LG OLED. However, I want all the gaming features and I want them to work. If you have a next-gen console like an Xbox Series X, you'll probably want 4K, 120Hz Dolby Vision gaming out of the box. And so far, the LG C1 is the only one that can do that without any issues. It's got the VRR, it's got Dolby Vision, it's got Dolby Vision game mode, it's got the game optimizer thing, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I use that a whole lot, but it's got all that. And the Sony would have been substantially more in cost, the 83-inch OLED, obviously. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pay this much more and not get the gaming features. Screw that. So make sure your TV has all the features you want. VRR, or variable refresh rate, for the gaming features is something that Sony TVs are just struggling with. I know eARC is also something that Samsung TVs struggled with for quite some time. And one of the things you guys want to remember is a lot of these companies are like, oh, we'll put out a firmware update. Yeah, that stuff rarely ever happens. Maybe a year into it. So promised features are also another thing you got to like worry about. If you want that feature to work, just get a TV now that has it and not promising it down the line, because who knows when that's going to happen. And these companies really don't care about you. Like, let's be honest. Let's quickly talk about HDR. If you guys don't know what that is, HDR stands for high dynamic range. Now, when we made the move from DVDs to Blu-rays, there was a big noticeable jump in quality going from SD, or standard definition, to HD, high definition. Now we have ultra high definition, which is 4K. And one of the biggest jumps with 4K is the addition of high dynamic range. Now you get brighter brights, deeper blacks, that kind of thing. And it actually looks great. Now, there are different types of HDR, and we're going to go over them now. There's HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision, and HLG. Now, HLG is mostly for broadcast. HDR10 is the standard or base layer HDR, and that is an open source platform. HDR10 Plus is the same as HDR10, but it adds dynamic metadata. Dolby Vision is a dynamic metadata HDR, which is, I guess, more premium. And they also have to get licensing for that specific TV, which is why Samsung does not support Dolby Vision, because they are just so in their own world that they think they can do everything better. And so they're going to stick to HDR10 and HDR10 Plus. And LG will not pick up HDR10 Plus because LG has Dolby Vision. So there's always these things. And from a consumer standpoint, I'm like, screw these guys. How about we just have all of them on every TV? So it makes it easier for me to decide. Because like with Dolby Vision gaming on the Xbox Series X, would I want to get a Samsung? Oh, well, the Samsung, people got all like weirded out about it. So now Xbox is having to put out HDR10 Plus games. So it's just this big battle that's just stupid. Like, these companies need to get their heads out of their asses and actually do something for us. But then again, like I said earlier, they don't really care about us. So that's 4 types of HDR, and the LGs in 2019 and I think 2018 also had Technicolor HDR, which is something that you could just set. But I noticed in my C1 that option is not there, so I guess Technicolor HDR is just scrapped. So 4 types of HDR, and that's it. All right, moving on to HDMI 2.1 and gaming features. I kind of touched on it before. The gaming features are ALLM, auto low latency mode. Basically what that does is your TV senses you're playing a video game and it puts it onto game mode. So yeah, it's very convenient for sure, 100%. Is it 100% necessary? Not really. You can pick up the remote and change it to game mode. You're not that lazy, at least I hope you're not. Anyway, that's one of them. eARC, or Enhanced Audio Return Channel, that will send audio from your TV to your external audio device, whether it's a soundbar or an AV receiver. Then there's VRR, or Variable Refresh Rate, and that comes in a few different flavors too. There's G-Sync, there's FreeSync, but if your TV has just a standard VRR, that's going to work as well. And of course, there is the big one, 4K 120 with HDR. Now, this was a big issue because a lot of the AV receivers didn't have the right chipsets. So now most of them have that. And what I've been doing is connecting the Series X to the TV and then e-arcing the audio from the TV to the AVR, and that has been working, and that's the workaround for those of you that don't have an AV receiver that support 4K 120 Hertz. Now with these HDMI 2.1 features, there can be some timing issues with the audio video sync for eARC, and some people have experienced that. I actually have not, so that can depend on your system, and there is an AV sync adjuster in the TV menu. You just have to go into the audio section and kind of like poke around in there. You'll find it. It's pretty easy. And again, some TVs just have more gaming features than others. Samsung TVs have only one HDMI 2.1 port. Sony TVs only have two HDMI 2.1 ports. LG TVs have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. So it's basically up to you on what you need. Now I have both the PS5 and the Series X. I mostly play the Series X, so all I need is one HDMI 2.1 port that supports everything. Now when I had both the Sony A90J and the Sony X90J in-house, they would support Dolby Vision gaming, but they didn't have a Dolby Vision game mode. So like the input lag was just bad, very, very bad. I wasn't able to play Call of Duty in Dolby Vision because it was just so slow. It was very bad. So until that gets fixed, which I'm hoping they'll fix soon, that's going to be good. And as far as, the LG C1, it's got everything there. Yeah, it's not perfect, but all the gaming features that I need are there. 4K, 120 Hz, Dolby Vision gaming with game mode and VRR and LLM and eARC working properly. It's a no-brainer. If you're looking for a gaming TV, I would steer you toward a C1. If you really don't want an OLED, I would go with maybe the Samsung QN90A or something like that. So if you're looking at TVs and you want gaming features, make sure they have the right amount of HDMI 2.1 ports and the features that you need. All right, let's quickly talk about TV operating system. Now we've seen a new operating system from Sony and from LG. I believe the Samsung's Tizen is still pretty much the same. And basically what I'm telling you is if you like to stream all your content from the inbuilt TV apps, you got to make sure that TV has those apps, because some of them do, some of them don't. And that's pretty much the situation. And half of them will support Dolby Atmos, sending it out, Dolby Atmos pass through, and some of them will not. So that's something definitely to think about. However, if you use an external box like a Roku Ultra, NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, or Apple TV 4K, then that's pretty much a non-issue. The OS is just there, and you'll have to go in there and navigate to turn on HDR and turn on eARC. But those are all pretty simple things. But if you need Dolby Atmos to work from a specific app in the TV, that is something that could or could not happen properly. We don't know. Let's talk about calibration. I am totally down with calibration. Of course, I have the calibration tools and the software, so I can calibrate whatever TV that comes through here when I review them. But as far as you guys are concerned, here's one thing about calibration that I need you guys to understand. Calibration will do two things. It'll get your white looking like proper white, right? You do a proper white balance, and your colors will be on point. The rest of the TV, whatever the TV normally does, it's going to continue doing. Meaning, if you have an LCD LED TV, like I had the TCL 6 series with the mini LEDs, even though I calibrated it, it still had nasty blooming and flash lighting, which I was really sensitive to and really don't like. And that's just inherent with the TV and the technology that TV has inside it. So even if you calibrate it, yeah, the colors are going to look good, the white's going to look good, but you're still going to get that blooming, you're still going to get that flash lighting, because that's just inherent with the TV. So if you're thinking about getting calibration to kind of, make your TV better in the sense that it'll stop doing ABC, XYZ, that's not necessarily the case. The whites are going to look better and the color is going to look better. And that's pretty much it as far as calibration is concerned. It won't fix any of the other problems the TV might have. So just keep that in mind. Last couple of things you might want to think about, viewing habits. What are you watching or using the TV for? Are you watching news a whole lot? Are you watching TV shows? Is it movies? Is it video games? What are you using the TV for content-wise? Once you figure that out, that might help you along in figuring out what kind of TV you want. If it's just news and you got tickers going along and that's all you watch, yeah, you might want to not get an OLED. You might want to go with LCD, LED. right? If you want gaming, I think you could go either way. Maybe the Samsung QN90A or an LG C1. And maybe you don't want a whole lot of gaming features, but you do want like the best picture quality for movies. Yeah, maybe try to get a Sony A90J, or if you want to save a little cash, the A80J. So yeah, there are some options depending on your viewing habits. Next up is viewing environments. Where is the TV going? Is it going into a man cave where you can control the light? Is it going to a big open living room with tons of windows like mine upstairs? I got 7 big windows. I still went OLED, but I have that issue, and my wife and kid always try to like watch the darkest Netflix show like in the afternoon when the sun's like coming in behind the TV. It's just, it's bad. In our master bedroom, it's pretty dark in there because we only like, go in there to sleep. Maybe we'll, lay in bed, lazy Sunday, morning, afternoon, watching football or whatever. But for the most part, we're watching everything in the bedroom at nighttime. And in the living room, it's daytime and nighttime viewing. So think about that. If you have a room with a bunch of windows, maybe you want to go with an LCD LED that's got a whole lot of nits like a Samsung, just so that you can get a good HDR experience when you've got a ton of ambient light in the room. However, if you have a room where you can control all the light, then maybe an OLED is better. So that is definitely something you guys need to think about. Okay, so that's it. That's a lot to think about. There's a lot of stuff there. And what do I think are the TVs in the different sizes, which I would go for? If you're looking in the 55-inch range, I would definitely go with an LG C1 OLED. It's around $1,300, which is a decent enough price. Now, if you wanted to save some money, you could go with the Vizio OLED at 55-inch. That's $1,000, so you're saving $300 there, and you're into the OLED. However, it is a Vizio, so there could be some issues. Now, I did hear back from one of my friends saying that his Vizio, all the issues have now been fixed, so that's good. I had one where like it would just not turn on, and I don't know, I gave that TV away, so I have no idea if it still happens or not. But anyway, that is something to consider. And if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, definitely check out the Hisense U8G and the TCL 5 series if you're looking in that 55-inch size. Now, in the 65-inch size, I would go with the LG C1 or the Sony A80J, coming in both around $1,800. Now, in the 75-inch to 77-inch TV size, I would probably go with the Samsung QN90A for $2,400, or the 77-inch LG C1 or Sony A80J, which are both priced at $2,800. So, like I said earlier, man, 77-inch OLED for under $3,000, it's a pretty good find. Pretty good find. And when we step it up to like the 85-inch, the Samsung QN90A starts at $3,000. So there's another thing, right? You can get the 85-inch Samsung QN90A or the 77-inch LG C1 or Sony A80J for the same price, $3,000. So yeah, there's a lot of options here, guys. So make sure, you buy the right one that fits your space and your content and all that kind of stuff. Now, the LG C1 has gone down to $5,000. And if you want to ball out, the Sony A90J 83 inches, they're at $8,000 still, which is pretty pricey. Anyway, I will have links to all these TVs down in the description, going to Amazon, going to B&H Photo, wherever you can find them, get them, because you guys know how the shortage is going. It was really hard for me to get my new DJ mixer. Like I had to buy one off of eBay and it was like almost double the price. Ridiculous. Anyway, links are going to be down in the description. Even for some TVs I didn't talk about, I'll have a bunch of options for you guys. So make sure you click on the links and do your own shopping and have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, we're buying this thing so we can enjoy something and have fun, right? And play some games or watch some movies or watch your favorite crappy reality TV shows like me and my wife do. So remember, this is all about you finding the right TV. Who cares that, the Sony A90J won the best TV of 2021? That doesn't matter if that's not the type of TV that's right for you. So keep that in mind, and don't forget to subscribe up, and I will try to answer some questions. Leave them down in the comments or whatever, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.